Good evening, I'm Jeff Koinange, and this is Jeff Koinange Live. And you know, if it's Wednesday, it's all about politics. And tonight, when you think about the number 147, the next time you think about it, just know it's not just a number. 147 Kenyan lives lost on that horrible Thursday morning. And Kenya will never be the same again. Let's face it, never has an attack like this been caused on the shores of this country since the U.S. bombing in 1998, when more than 220 lives were lost. But there are some heroes emerging from all of this, amongst them Recce Squad, which took them, depending on who you ask, somewhere between 12 and 18 minutes to kill 4 of the terrorists before the 5th one blew himself up. Other heroes, people who helped those who were injured, the people who were comforting each other. All the way to today, we could see scenes outside Chiromo funeral parlor, parents grieving, waiting for signs that they can finally get their loved ones and go give them a final resting place. Tonight is a sober show. We're going to be asking some hard questions, and we've got just the right gentleman to talk these questions through with. On my far right, former Member of Parliament for Lagdera, former Deputy Speaker. By the way, Lagdera is in Garissa, right near the largest refugee camp on the planet, known as Dadaab. His name, Farah Maalim. He's going to be talking to us about what all that means. The man in the middle. For the last 40 years plus, more than most of us have been alive, he's been a humanitarian on the front lines of just about every disaster on the planet. He knows a thing or two about disaster management. So we're asking tonight, the state of security and the state of preparedness, is the homeland ready for it? My guests, Secretary General of Kenya Red Cross, Abass Gullet, and former Lagdera Member of Parliament, former Deputy Speaker, Farah Maalim. The Twitter handles, @Farah Maalim and @Abass Gullet. Mine is @Koinange Jeff. The hashtag is JKL, or you can use 147, not just a number. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on the show. Appreciate it. Again, you know, we keep meeting in situations like this. Last time was Westgate. We were hit hard, but Kenyans with their resilience came back. This time around, and it's been nearly a week, it's been 6 days. SG, first of all, how tough has this been for you? Because I saw you today. You were in Chiromo all day long with 140 something bodies over there, and the parents are there, and the officials are there, and the situation, you can't describe how rough, how tough that situation is. What was it like for you?
Well, I would say, Jeff, thank you for having us on this show. But just to say that seeing the scenes in Chiromo, seeing the remains of the departed souls, it is very, very sad as a Kenyan, and very disheartening that this did happen in this day and age in our country. But for me, I would probably say I've seen worse than this. Only worse than this was the capsizing of the MV Bukoba on Lake Victoria in 1996. But also to see gunshot wounds and, wounds that are stabbed through knives and such like things, crude weapons, is very sad. But what I want to say is that the country has been captivated by what has happened over the last 6 days, and this is fully understandable. But I just want to really, from the outset, to pass my and organization condolences to the families of the bereaved. And I know how difficult it's been for them since Friday when the bodies were brought to Nairobi. It's been very tough for them to wait and to identify their loved ones. What I want to say to Kenyans is that I want to actually, without fear of contradiction, take off my hat for the government, for their coordination. I mean, we're very good in this country in lamenting and blaming and, always finding excuse. And I'm not saying this for the sake of to please anyone in the government. But I think what the Minister for Internal Security did by going to lead the operation in Garissa, and within a period of less than 24 hours, it was completed.
Would like to apologize for that technical hitch right here on Jeff Koinange Live. In fact, I echo the words of Samuel Njehia, who says, fire the dude responsible for that technical hitch. 147, not just a number. You have my permission. I agree. We apologize. We're back on air. My guest tonight, former Durham Member of Parliament, former Deputy Speaker Farah Maalim, and Kenya Red Cross Secretary General Abass Gullet. Gentlemen, we're talking about what's happened the last 6 days and the state of the nation, state of security, the state of preparedness. Farah Maalim, you were saying earlier on, I mean, it's a travesty that it took the GSU recce squad so long.
Such a long time.
Yeah.
Yes, such a long time. Actually, it went so bad. So much so that the residents, the locals came in there and said, give us the guns, we'll go in.
That's what they were saying?
That's what they said.
And could they have saved more lives had they been there at 8, 9, 10 a.m.?
If recce squad was there, definitely, definitely. If recce squad was taken within 1 hour, 1.5 hours of incident happening. And from here to Garissa is just 1 hour, by the way, 45 minutes. We would have, it's my belief that would have saved over 90–80% of the life of the local.
SG, is that overreacting? Because obviously, I mean, when you look at the number, when you look at how GSU reacted, when you look at the fact that, you know, the politicians flew there first, what were they flying there for? To have a face, to hold a press conference, to do what? Whereas, you know, the priority is get the boys who know how to get the job done.
I guess you're right in what you're saying on one hand, Jeff, but I think on the other hand too, there were soldiers there were police, the administration police, there's a military base in Garissa, so I think they were already engaging these guys. Now one could say clearly that you needed the more specialized commandos and the recce group and all that I agree. But from where I sit as a humanitarian, I can say there was lessons learned from Westgate, because we worked with the government, with the Ministry of Interior, with NDOC, with the police, NDMU, with hospitals, with everybody in the private sector and in the government hospitals. We prepared, we worked for drills on mass casualty incidents. We had a command system, and the command system functions. But for us as Red Cross, for example, we had branch in Garissa. We had ambulances, even if some people were bashing these ambulances the other day. Those were the first ones that were there within half an hour of the incident. They were the ones recovering the wounded and the dead that were taken to the provincial hospital.
But could more lives have been saved?
Well, I guess, yes, if the recce group was much more earlier there, showing by experience the time that they spent to take these 5 people out, obviously, yes, because that's what they're trained for.
Yeah. Well, let's switch gears real quick. Yesterday, was it yesterday? House Majority Leader Eden Duale says they held a press conference with a group of Muslim leaders, and they said they have a list of names of people who fund, people who are supporting Al-Shabaab. If they had that list, why not submit it to Joseph Boynet, the IEG, earlier? I mean, why now? Why took it so long?
Not just why not Kimayo? Why not Itere, who was there before him?
Yes.
Who was there before
Kimayo? Yes.
Why not Itere? Why not the moment you get it done? If you know a criminal, you don't wait until those criminals have done the kind of meaning that they did.
So what is he trying to say?
Withholding vital information concerning a criminal who's going to carry out a crime against people in itself is an offense. Your actions are tantamount to abating terror itself.
So what is his motivation, do you think?
Frankly, I don't know why they said what they said. It could be one of the many different things. It could be maybe some of them not people that have information that we don't know. Maybe it's part of that standard, psychophancy that used to be in the system in the past and which is coming back again, finding its way. In there, you have to really please the big guy and tell him, please don't get pissed off. Relax, we will go and get the steps. It's a way of trying to do what they don't know, but they're trying to give a promise that essentially is coming out now that they have got themselves into some kind of a pit.
Yeah.
They have admitted an offense.
Absolutely. And SG, at the same time, I mean, you've worked in Dadaab, you've been to Dadaab many times, about 500,000 refugees, 460,000 or something like that. The Muslim leaders up north want to shut down that camp. What do you say?
Well, I think Kenya is signatory to international protocols, and we must respect these protocols. If they are, and we've been there for a number of years now working with this population, I mean, in such a large population like that, you would expect there may be criminals, call them whatever you want to call them, but they are a system that that is able to deal with that. I mean, for me, what I would say, to have a proper repatriation, first of all, the condition has to be conducive on the other side. Yes, on this side too, it is sad that Kenyans are losing life, and one may say, is there validity in saying that every crime committed in that area is committed by refugees? I would say, to me today, if one were to say, I mean, it's actually a complex situation. We as humanitarian actors are finding it very difficult to work in there. From a perspective of resources, the international community have seen this problem have gone on for too long in our country. We've hosted these refugees for close to 25 years. There are no enough resources to manage these camps. The host community that is hosting these refugees, they sometimes actually are even worse off condition than the refugees, which for me annoys me, and to see that having worked with many refugee situations around the world, this is a case where more needs to be done for the host community. More needs to be done to revegetate the vegetation that has completely been depleted. The Dab is just a desert now. And once the refugees go, there will be nothing left for the host community. So the government should, and the county government to begin with, and the central government should ensure that the place is rehabilitated, facilities are prepared. This place could be a very good training facility for Kenyans, but even for Somalis in the future, once they go back to Somalia, the Dab could become the next place for a training institution, whether it's a college, it's a university, agriculture, health, education, that this could be a place where the Somalis would come to be trained, because they have facilities. But to say that everything is to blame the refugees, I think is a little bit far-fetched, but I can understand too on this side that the country is saying we cannot host them any longer. Is a condition conducive to the other side? I can say for sure we know close to 50 or 60,000 refugees have gone over the last 1.5 years since the tripartite agreement was signed. And they should be further pushed to go to where they can go in pockets of Somalia where there's relative peace from what we are told.
Yeah, but Mheshimiwa, that was your area, like Dera was in your constituency. You send these refugees back, and most of them are very young, most of them are very impressionable. They'll be playing right into Al-Shabaab's hands. These are angry young men and women who'll be going right back into the mouth of the pit of the lion.
Jeff,
just
before I answer that question, I just want to tell you something about this list that's been given out there now. And it could be one of many things. There could be many genuine cases of the funders or the supporters or the financiers and the facilitators of terrorism and terrorists in this country. We can only wait until the specialized professional bodies are going to carry out these investigations and tell us. We don't want to talk about it. A cursory look at it shows me a lot of it that is in a sense laughable. In a sense laughable.
You mean these hawalas being shut down?
Yeah, not the hawalas only. They put a list of 85 individuals and hawalas and the rest of them. One of them is Sheikh Hassan Abdurrahman. Sheikh Hassan Abdurrahman has been dead now for the last a good number of months, I think 3 months or 4 months, something like that. Before that, he's been in and out of hospital for about 3 years. And he has been known as one person who vociferously has always opposed Al-Shabaab and any form of radicalism. And then he is one person, if he was healthy and was living in Garissa, would be having a threat on his own life. I mean, that's one thing. And then Sheikh Omar, basically, is one other guy who they have actually saying he's a Catholic. You know what Catholic means? They say he's an infidel. He deserves to die. The same way they said I deserve to die myself and Haji sometimes wake. So, but maybe they know what we don't know ourselves. The information that's out there is probably, we will wait until the specialized services are going to come up and tell us this is the evidence. But having said that, I want to talk about the gap again now. The case of trying to go for the refugees. By the way, up until now, not a single refugee from the gap has been arrested and convicted on having carried out any form of terrorism in the country. The people who have done either in Slee or Nairobi or Kenyans of all different tribes, I mean, these are the people who have so far been indicted or arrested or taken to court, the rest of them. But having said that, the refugees are victims, yes. The victims who ran away from Al-Shabaab in Somalia. Now we're victimizing the victims. We intend and say, because in our inability to deal decisively with the real criminals.
Yeah.
The real criminals are unable to engage our forces. They are unable to engage Kenya or the Somali National Forces or the AMISOM. They are looking for soft targets. They're killing innocent people. We are also now looking for soft targets. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We're blaming the victims.
We're blaming the victims.
I want to take a break, come back and talk about that, because is this homegrown terror? Because the man known as the Grand Mullah, Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi, says this is homegrown terror. This is not Al-Shabaab from Somalia. This is local, right here, funded by local leaders. I want to talk about that after the break. And also, where do we go from here? Are we prepared for the next attack? Because it's going to come. It's inevitable.
God forbid.
God forbid. Let's talk about that after the break. At Farah Maalim, at Abass Gullet, at Koinange Jeff. The hashtag is JKL, or you could just use 147 is not just a number. Chef Koinange Live, we're going deep into the genesis of these issues. Is the homeland safe? Are we prepared to defend the homeland? We'll take a break. Be right back in a moment.